Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
I love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Earley. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Howdy and good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers inside the Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm Ryan Broniger in the host chair yet again today. To my left, as always, for this Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations and Maroon U, is Olin Buchanan. To my right, over here in the Good Bull, boy, that's a long time ago. Angry Elephant News and Social Center, Alex Schoonover. Pulling the switches this morning is Luke Evangelist. We got a mix and match group. And we have a lot to talk about, and we have a loaded show this morning. In this 8 o'clock hour, I get to sit here, and I got to watch Olin and Stephen McGee snicker like sophomores in high school.
Snicker and bicker.
Back and forth. And I've got some bones.
Name for a podcast.
Snicker and bickering. I have some bones to pick with Stephen McGee.
Okay.
So we'll get into that whenever he gets in here. Ryan Swope will join us. Usually I'm not usually I don't turn down food any way I can get it, but I don't scavenge.
Oh, we don't have to scavenge today.
What do we got?
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah. We got the Buppies folks coming in.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Thursday mornings. That's been a welcome addition to the weekly routine.
It's been a blessing.
Stephen McGee will stay around for the 9 o'clock hour with Ryan Swope. We've got Aaron Torres at 9 o'clock hour. We're going to go through some film with School is in Session with Coach Jim Turner. Filmed that yesterday. He brought his dummy back, and I'm not talking about Olin Buchanan. It's actually a football dummy. He wrapped it in a jersey because he wanted to talk about holding and some of the holding calls that he very much disagreed with in the Auburn game. And one of the things that dominated our discussion yesterday was the refereeing in the SEC and the kind of they're eating themselves with terms of penalties when you've got 10 clubs in the conference that are 100th or greater in penalties per game. So we're going to talk about that with Jim Turner at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. 10 o'clock, we welcome in head baseball coach Mike Earley. Preview the Aggies and Sam Houston State Bearcats on Friday night at Bluebell Park, the first of two exhibition games for the Aggie baseball team. And then we'll wrap it up, the final few segments of the show, with the fan show. We got prize picks. Luke Evangelist will be a part of that. He's also, like I said, producing the show. So, OB, good morning. Welcome. When does your clock start to turn full attention to, like we are, there's another SEC game on the horizon? At what day in the week? Because I think Thursday, I'm fully there.
Well, Sunday, of course.
Oh, you're already on the next week as soon as?
Well, actually, no, Monday, though. Monday.
So there's no separation from looking back to looking forward?
No, we have to look back on Monday. I look forward as soon as I get off the Go Hour on Monday because I have to actually start doing a whole lot of work for the next week or, for the following.
You work?
I do, Ryan.
I heard Richard Zane has got you in a blender.
I don't know what that means, but hey, I've been doing the same job here, produced the same content since 2012, whether it was Richard Zane or anybody else.
You've had your fair share of publishers, but Richard has taken on a lot more, I think, than any of the publishers that I've worked with before him.
Richard Zane is I hope he's not listening because I don't want to say something nice about him. He is one of the more conscientious, harder working, but definitely the most, when it comes to publishing, the hardest work and most conscientious.
Yeah, I've had some folks that are in kind of the SEC media space they've texted me. He's like, does Richard not like me? And I'm like, why? He's like, well, he hadn't gotten back to me in a couple of days. And I'm like, do you realize that every piece of content in football season comes across his desk? So that's what he's dealing with. Him and Kay Nagley, who helps him on the publishing side. But it is, I'd have to go back and look at the text message because Richard was counting the number of pieces of original content that we had published from Saturday night after the game through about Monday or Tuesday morning. And it was over 100 pieces of original content. That's pretty crazy. That the volume here, you're getting your bang for your buck if you're a subscriber to TexAgs, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, you are. So subscribe. It's a bargain.
It
if
is.
You love the Aggies. Subscribe to TexAgs. It's just the next step in your Aggie life.
You know what? I'm tired of David and Billy being the ones that cut promos for this company because there's not a person that works here that has ever cut promos quite like you can. So why are we not utilizing your skill set there?
They're wasting me.
1775 owes you a bunch of money.
I'm kind of like A-Chain, but in his next to last year when he was underutilized.
So
at LSU and at Ole Miss.
Hey, Luke, you know what?
They would have won.
Luke, when I think about Devon A-Chain, I think about Olin Buchanan.
Yeah.
Dynamite drop in, Luke. Keep scrolling.
Oh, my bad. I didn't know we were going to me just yet. I was waiting my turn.
What do you think about Olin Buchanan? Or Devon A-Chain, Olin Buchanan, very similar?
Yeah, both very fast. I think of two very mobile people and who can maneuver their way. The way Devon A-Chain goes through defenders is exactly how Olin Buchanan walks up the stairs.
No, that's not true. I know they're making fun of me being old, but the similarities is the precision and the speed and the fast moving A-Chain. What he does physically, I do mentally.
Mm. Yeah,
I'm the mental A-Chain.
You had an all-time quote.
A-Brain.
A-Brain. Olin A-Brain.
Or A-Brand.
You had an all-time quote this morning that I went and wrote on our calendar.
What was that?
Luke, can you look to your left on the calendar and read that verbatim from
Yeah, it says Olin is the best thing to happen to TexAgs, and it is written right in front of me.
Why are you coughing now? You did say that.
I was misquoted on that.
No!
Because I said Olin Buchanan is the best thing to ever happen to TexAgs.
Alex, good morning. We'll try to get you integrated here. If you want to interact with the show, 979-693-1150. You can tweet at us. You can comment in the YouTube chat. Let's get this thing up and running on a Thursday. Olin had to tell me, I didn't know you were from Shreveport.
I am, Shreveport, Louisiana, yep.
What high school did you go to?
C.E. Bird.
You went to Bird,
Asher Murray, or five-star kicker, committed. I went to high school with him.
Cool. Did you play a part in getting him here?
Yeah, I did. I told him this is a great school to go to, and he, he took a couple visits, and he just felt like A&M was home. So.
How did you end up picking A&M? Because I got an undergrad at McNeese.
Okay.
I lived in Lake Charles for 4 years. I understand that look, A&M gets a reputation, and I think deservedly so, as like a cult thing.
Yeah.
Tell me that you live in Louisiana and LSU ain't a cult thing.
Oh, LSU's a cult thing. But I've never liked LSU.
Good man.
My whole family went here, and this is the place to be. I love College Station.
Man,
sounds like he gave the kicker a bird's eye view of College Station.
Oh, I think there were some shots maybe taken at
bird's eye view.
I thought he was taking some shots at Quinn. A&M's the place to be. By the way, let's go. Let's
wanted
dive
my
in.
son to go to A&M.
Let's dive into some Quinn Buchanan analysis of LSU's offense.
He just says he texted me after the LSU game, and he just said he'd probably be mad at me for saying this, but he might have had some alcohol influences, and he just said
some barley sandwiches.
He just says Nuss is a terrorist. I think he was disappointed, meaning that he was terrorized by Nuss. I think
there's something about an apple in a tree, a quote about an apple in a tree that I'm seeing bubbling up in my brain right now.
I know there's a lot of LSU fans right now that are frustrated with their offense and with Nussmeier. And, I know we don't want to get off topic too much, but I'll say this. I think Garrett Nussmeier's struggles were somewhat predictable because when did Nussmeier had an outstanding year last year, but when did he have trouble?
When he got pressured.
When he got pressured.
And I think it mainly starts with that offensive line. You lose two great draft picks, Will Campbell, Emory Jones, and you got to replace those.
And all four guys that they lost were drafted.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you're replacing them, and
you're replacing them with young kids too, not portal. There was one portal guy they got in
Virginia Tech and one from Northwestern.
Yeah. But they're replacing them. Like their right tackle is a kid from Beaumont that was committed to A&M for a while, and then he got hurt
last week.
And then they played a true freshman.
So is that if he had trouble under pressure with what was that outstanding guy? It was the fourth player.
Will Campbell, Emory Jones,
and Emory Jones, and a couple other NFL players. What makes you think he's not going to have trouble
with an inexperienced offensive line?
With this line?
And look, I have to go look at their schedule, but what road games are really going to test that young offensive line? They didn't do well. They didn't handle Ole Miss well. And that's not a rowdy, raucous environment. What I saw out of Garrett Nussmeier last year, even with those guys in front of him, was he really struggled on the road when things got sped up. I mean, we saw that here.
Well, yeah, they play Alabama and Tuscaloosa right after they play us. So I guess be a good game to see.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a good segue into my first topic of this morning. In this go hour, we would usually be over at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone, but we're not cool enough. But when David's here, he makes the show cool enough that they can sit over there. We're going to sit at the main desk, and we're going to talk about SEC edition of something we did on the B team yesterday, contender or pretender through 5 weeks of the season. So we're going to start with the LSU Tigers. Are they a contender or a pretender?
I have to say that now, after last week, I think they may be a pretender.
I would say they're a pretender, but not just based on last week. You scored 13 points offensively at home when DJ Lagway threw you the ball 5 times.
But you still won because you had a great defensive effort that day.
Mm-hmm. I don't think – we'll see what happens if we can call that a great defensive effort that day. Their great defensive efforts so far have come against Clemson
and Florida, 2 teams that can't move the ball.
Right.
So I said they had a great defensive effort that day. 5 interceptions, no matter what the situation is a great defensive effort.
I would lean that way, yes. The nature of some of those interceptions, though, were – I mean, they could have thrown – it was like Evangelist playing quarterback.
Maybe for Shreveport Evangel.
Oh, yeah. Blake Shapen.
Blake Shapen coming in here this weekend, an Evangel alum. So LSU, I've got as a pretender. You got him as a pretender?
Yeah, right. I have to. Because I took them last week and they cost me.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had no faith in LSU winning that game.
I didn't have any faith in it. I was just saying,
minus 1.5. It was basically a pick 'em. Moving on, another set of Tigers, Missouri.
I'm sorry. I know I'm probably gonna get roasted. I think they're a pretender. You got to do it against somebody good, and just one game against somebody good, and I'll change my opinion. But the best team they played South Carolina.
Yes, and that was with Lenore's banged up Lenore Sellers. So here are their wins: Central Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana Lafayette, South Carolina, and UMass. The schedule does take an uptick.
All I'm saying, yeah, as soon as you beat somebody of substance, I'll change my opinion.
They're on a bye, then they get Bama at home.
Bye is the best team they've played so far.
They get Missouri gets Alabama at home, then they go on the road to Auburn, then they go to Vandy, A&M at home, Mississippi State at home, at Oklahoma, and at Arkansas. That's not murderer's row there, but there's 3 or 4 big hurdles for them. I came in, they're better than I thought they would be in the preseason because I actually I have an uncle that lives in that area of the country, kind of gets involved with some Mizzou stuff. There was some murmurs that the coaching staff thought they were going to struggle, that they thought Bo Pribula was going to take something out of the ordinary for him to get comfortable and in rhythm with their offense. And I think we've seen that with Ahmad Hardy in the running game. That's helped them out tremendously. I don't think that – I think as of right now, you'd have to call them a contender, but this is a TBD for me. Very much a TBD.
Well, see,
I don't think you know anything about
I didn't know TBD was an option.
Right, and that's why I'm saying if I had to pick today, it'd be contender.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go pretender until they beat somebody of substance.
The Georgia Bulldogs, contender or pretender?
They're contenders. They got to win over Tennessee, and if their coach has got to learn from his mistake. Kirby Dunn, do not pass up a chance to kick a field goal to tie when you're at home.
The schedule, they get Ole Miss at home. Then they got Texas at home. And there's not really a road game that challenges them until they get to the final week in Georgia Tech. That being said, I think this is the worst Georgia team I've seen in a few years.
Okay.
I will join you in the contenders club, but only because I'm giving a pass because it's Georgia and Kirby Smart. They have not looked like an elite. And I don't know that there's anybody in the league that has looked elite, but this is certainly not Georgia elite from what we've seen in years past. Their passing game really struggled against Alabama. Really, really struggled.
The closest team, I mean, you hesitate to say this, the closest team to appearing elite in the SEC right now is Texas A&M.
Ole Miss.
No.
Once again, I'm saying
he's an Ole Miss hater.
I know.
No,
I can tell.
Well, you just hey, I don't know which side of the mouth that Bronny's going to talk out of this time. Just a minute ago, he was
South End or the North End.
A minute ago, he's just questioning. I don't know which about your mouth, but a minute ago, he was questioning LSU's defense and all that. Oh, are they good because of this? And what's okay if you have doubts about LSU and their defense, and then I'm going to say, what's the big win that Ole Miss has?
They've got
Tulane.
They've got a bunch of. I think they've got more good wins.
And I'm not saying. And when you get to Ole Miss, what are the good wins?
LSU at home, and everybody was talking about that Tulane team being a legit Group of 5 contender, and they waxed them. I mean, it wasn't even close.
Okay, so
I mean, what was the number on that game was like 9.5 or 10.5. They beat them by 40.
Okay, so a win over a Group of 5 team is what makes them elite. A big win over a group.
I would say, well, no, you said you'd have A&M. I said I have Ole Miss right there with them.
Okay.
And they've done it with 2 different quarterbacks.
And I'm saying, and I even hesitate to say A&M because, again, there's not enough. But I think A&M played, I think they played better against Auburn than Oklahoma did.
One of to me, one of the biggest marks against Ole Miss right now would be the defensive performance against Arkansas.
I think the only mark against Ole Miss in my mind of saying, okay, this is an elite team, is their best win right now, in my opinion, is LSU. And we have all kinds of questions about LSU.
I have questions about LSU. I have LSU as a pretender. I don't think that they can win the SEC. The Texas Longhorns.
I'm going to say they're contenders. They got one loss, and it was by 7 points to the number 1 team in the country on the road, and they put up numbers. They just didn't get into the end zone. So, now have they beaten anybody of substance? No, but sometimes I'm going to take more out of I heard people on the radio 2 weeks ago, saying on ESPN that they wouldn't vote Notre Dame as a top 25 team when they were 0-2. But they had no problem putting like Oregon in the top 5 because they had beaten Oklahoma State and like Montana. And I'm telling you, a 3-point loss on the road to Miami, which is like number 2 or number 3, and a 1-point loss to Texas A&M on essentially the last play of the game. To me, that indicates that you're a good team in my mind, more so than blowing out some overmatched opponents.
Why is Penn State and Texas? Why are they ranked ahead of Vanderbilt?
Well,
they shouldn't be. They should not be ranked ahead of Vanderbilt.
As far as Penn State goes, I'm going to say, well, where do you have Oregon? Where do you have Oregon?
I'd have Oregon in my top 5.
Okay. Well, they played Oregon, the top 5 team. They went into overtime with them. How much difference can there be?
But what have they done? They haven't beaten a P4 school yet.
But I'm just trying to say
Vanderbilt's beaten 4 of them.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, on the field, right now you'd have. And it's a logo thing. I get it. It's a program thing.
Well, again, I'm saying as far as Penn State, it's kind of the same thing I'm saying in Notre Dame. If you go,
you got to play real team. You're playing real teams.
You're playing real teams, and you lose by
a combined 4 points,
or you're in overtime. I mean, what are we talking about here? Are we saying because if you lose in overtime to Penn State and to Oregon and they're number 5, then you must be number 20?
All I'm saying is,
to me,
on the field, Vanderbilt has proven more so far than Texas and Penn State on the field, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I have Vanderbilt on here as a pretender or contender.
I will say Vanderbilt is a contender.
Get back to me after Saturday.
Right.
Yeah. All right, we're way past the break. We got to fly past it. We got Heisman Watch coming up, but I like this exercise. And I also had Oklahoma, pretender or contender. The SEC is jumbled with a lot of teams, I think, that are all in the same echelon. But we got to flip it. We'll go to Heisman Watch. On the other side, get OB's updated list. I think we're going to have some debate about this one, too. A lot more to go on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. A very spirited commercial break here in the TexAgs studios. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. These are the Rollo Insurance Studios. This is TexAgs Live, and we have got to get to Heisman Watch, even though I think this discussion we had during the break, Alex, was awesome.
By the way, Washington had 234 total yards last week against Ohio State.
Yeah, it was a good win for Ohio State. I had the Huskies covering that number, and I thought they were an underrated pick to win, and it was never really close. Ohio State pulled away late. We got to do Heisman Watch. Okay. It is brought to you by Shirtlift Law Firm. Hunter's a friend of our company, and we trust him with our local legal needs. Call Shirtlift Law today when you need a lawyer for your business or personal issue. Heisman Watch, OB, how do you usually start this? You go from 5 to 1?
5 to 1. And reminding you, it changes dramatically every week because I base it on how you're doing the aggregate of your season. And so if you have a good week, you can move up. If you have a bad week, you can move down. And I'll say this also, I just eliminate what you do on the dregs of your schedule because, again, you should put up big numbers against bad teams. And if you don't, it might be because you got out to a big lead and your coach sat you. So anyway, number 5.
Can we describe dregs real quick?
Yeah, bad teams. The teams, teams that are overmatched.
In the SEC, dregs are
Arkansas,
Kentucky.
Kentucky would, even though they had a good game against Ole Miss, they would fall under a drag in my view. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted an opinion on dregs. It's all, or a definition of dregs. Excuse me.
P&G, Nederland.
You got the first one right.
Okay, number 5 on my list continues to be Haynes King because he continues to make plays. Last week, he rallied the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets from a 20-3 deficit against Wake Forest. Now, that's not good being down 20-3, especially to Wake Forest, but you play who you play. He passed for 243 yards and a touchdown. Wake Forest is a drag. Wake Forest is a drag.
But you don't count these then.
No, I am updating what he did last week. That's all.
Okay. We cut you off.
What a dolt. He also rushed for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. That raised his season totals to 758 yards, 3 touchdowns, 380 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Number 4 on my list, Fernando Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback, followed up that spectacular performance. Spectacular. We'll agree with that.
Yes.
Against Illinois, which may or may not be a drag. Any team coached by Brett Bielema, there's going to be that question. But they weren't a drag that week. They were number 9. And he followed that up with, let's face it, a rather pedestrian showing against Iowa. They did win 15-10. He passed for 233 yards. No, that's not pedestrian. That's solid. Solid's a better description. That 233 yards and 2 touchdowns, rushed for 26. On the season, Mendoza, 1,208 passing yards, 16 touchdowns. He's rushed for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Big drive late, too, because a loss to Iowa would have hammered his Heisman Trophy candidacy. Yeah. Because dregs, this schedule is a joke. This Indiana schedule is a joke.
Until they played Illinois.
They've got Oregon and Penn State. We'll see what happens.
I did not have Fernando Mendoza in my top 5 rankings until the Illinois game. Why? Because they've been playing dregs. All right. Number 3.
Big Ten's got a lot of dregs.
I got a new guy in this one. Number 3. Trinidad Chambliss. 3. Trinidad. See where that works. Transfer from Ferris State, wherever the hell that is. I think it's in Michigan. Anyway, he's only started 3 games, but he's been spectacular in them last week. 314 passing yards, and he rushed for 71 yards in that 24-19 win over LSU and that vaunted defense of LSU. Vaunted, even if Bronny questioned
TBD on vaunted.
I agree. He's exceeded 300 passing yards in every game he has started. He's thrown overall for 1,033 yards, 5 touchdowns, rushed for 266 and 2 touchdowns. Trinidad Chambliss makes the list this week.
He should.
Yeah.
I believe he should.
Obviously, I do too. Number 2 on my list, I have him number 2 Ronnie, I think, wants more, and he is. Dante Moore, I'm giving you that too. Oregon quarterback. I've been waiting for him to play somebody of substance. I'm sorry, Oregon State and Oklahoma State, if it's OSU, unless it's Ohio State, it's not substance. So, and they got OSU sometime. Anyway, he came in with a respectable opponent and led Oregon to a 30-24 overtime victory over Penn State. He threw for 248 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did one of those touchdown passes come in overtime? I can't recall. Anyway.
Yes.
It had to.
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah. And he rushed for number 35. It's a strong showing. Raised his season totals to 1,210 passing yards with 14 touchdowns and 122 rushing yards. And number one on my list, I've always said, look, if all things are equal, and I think everything's pretty equal, I'm going to go with the Aggie. I'm sticking with Marcel Reed. I started to call it a pedestrian showing against Auburn. The more I thought about it, it wasn't. It was a solid showing. What did he complete? Like 15 of 22 for 207 yards. Had an interception that the play never should have been called. He's still ranked 15th in the nation in total offense. Reed has passed for 1,076 yards and nine touchdowns, and he's rushed for 119 yards and a touchdown. Everything could change for the better or for worse for everybody next week, especially as the games get more important and you have fewer dregs on your schedule.
If you are interested in the Heisman Trophy odds from bookmakers right now, Joey Aguilar and Fernando Mendoza are tied at 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Then Ty Simpson's ahead of them. At number 3, Jeremiah Smith. Number 2, Carson Beck. Number 1, Dante Moore. Marcel Reed would be 7th on that list.
Because Aggies never get overlooked, right?
Here's an interesting one. All these are quarterbacks just about on these odds list. There's 2 that's not. I mentioned Jeremiah Smith. The other one, and we talked about, I think you got to say they're a contender now. We'll see with the schedule. Ahmad Hardy.
Once again, play somebody.
Right, again.
Somebody with a pulse.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying if you think Mizzou's going to be good, if you're one of these people out there that thinks Mizzou's got a chance to go 10-2 and go to the playoff, then Ahmad Hardy, you're looking at really good number, like really good odds there at plus 3,000.
You know what annoys me? Look, I'll be the first to admit that Jeremiah Smith's a great player. He may be the best player in the draft when he goes out. He may not be the first player taken because they like quarterbacks. He may be the best player. And you're talking about him being a Heisman. He's got 396 receiving yards, right?
Yeah.
4 touchdowns. He had 119 yards and 2 touchdowns against Grambling.
In Ohio.
And then the next week, 153 yards and a touchdown against Ohio. So
why is it Mario Craver?
Exactly. That's what
but it's the brand.
Yeah.
That's a brand and the name. For sure. That's why his odds are so good.
So
I agree with you that the numbers don't deserve it.
124 yards receiving and 1 touchdown against Texas and Washington combined.
Miami beats Florida State this week. I think Carson Beck's going to go to number 1 for a lot of folks.
He could go back on it, but here's the thing about Carson Beck, and I'd had him on my top 5 most of the year. He's really getting a lot of credit for what all the guys around him are doing. Like, all right, and again, I had him. I kind of bumped him off this week because other guys have moved up. But what's the play that has stood out for Carson Beck this year? The one that you look at and say, oh yeah, that's the Heisman moment. You know what it is? It's C.J. Daniels making
a one-handed catch
to save him from throwing an interception.
What is
because it's going to be intercepted but he gets credit for it.
Devil's advocate. What's Marcel's play?
The touchdown pass to
a 50-50 ball to Nate Burkitcher. Made an incredible catch.
Wait. Was it an incredible catch?
I think that's
Was it on the same par?
No, not even the same planet, but it's not a.
Yeah, you always get the receiver's got to catch it.
And
too.
the second best play for Marcel, I think, would be the Craver catch and run.
Yeah.
He gets credit for that. That's more, obviously more on Craver.
Anyway, we're up against the break. I just like playing devil's advocate with you. When we come back, another guy that likes to pick it. Another guy that likes to pick it, Olin Buchanan, Stephen McGee. It should get a little bit more rowdy here on a Thursday morning. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Say it with me, OB. Post, drag, come back, swing. One minute, McGee. Post, drag, come back, swing. TexAgs Live, a Thursday morning edition. The last have already started with Stephen McGee in the studio. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Inside the Rollo Insurance Studios, as a reminder, the final segment of the show is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, let's give away some pizza. Caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We'll hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or one large pizza from Double Dave, serving Aggieland and beyond since 1984. Stephen McGee, as I mentioned, in the studio, our QB1 and your financial QB at Paragon Financial Advisors, helping you call the right plays for your financial future.
Right. How long would those pizza rolls last right now?
In front of me?
Yes.
I have a substantial, not a substantial, I have my same breakfast every morning, but if you get me up and running like this, I've already had some caffeine, and then you start pouring calories in me, there's going to be another host of the show for a little bit.
So how many are you going to eat?
How many could I eat?
No, how many would you eat? If that's
right
the
now,
question.
2. But that's not a fun answer.
Yeah, it's not as fun. But I mean, how many could you eat is the...
A dozen.
You could eat a dozen?
God.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot of
Hey,
dough.
I'll eat a dozen if you give me $3,500.
Oh, by the way, he doesn't think that was that big of a deal. He thought what David did was child's play, and he thought that was a bad expenditure of money. He said he would do $100 a minute, 35 minutes.
35 minutes for $3,500 for
a whole cake.
Yeah.
Run that by your wife and see if she'll let you do it, and then I'll want that next week.
35 minutes? Wow.
An entire cake.
That cake that he had was just a little bit bigger than my laptop.
Boy, you'd have thought it was
I don't want you to
man versus food stuff the way David went.
If you're going to bring one of those sheet cakes from Costco, I might need a little more time. But
Oh, man.
Hey, what about the Aggie offense eating cake?
I'm telling you.
On the ground.
Yeah, they got after it. It was, they didn't have the point production they wanted to, but with all the penalties and whatnot, but the yardage production was phenomenal. I mean, this offensive line, 8. It was great to see Le'Veon Moss. That dude is an animal, and then Marcel used his legs, and at times very wisely, getting out of bounds there right before the, allowing your team an extra play and the field goal attempts. But look, man, this football team is dynamic. They have a lot of different ways they can attack you. I think the thing that was best to see is this defense really put on a show and showed that they could play at a high level. And I think now you're learning that this football team can win in different ways, right? Offense doesn't have to have the point production. Defense can get it done.
I think the goal for any coach in any sport is to have a club that can play the entire game. However you need us to play, we can play and win. We play the whole game, and that's a good point that you just brought up. I want to ask you about the penalties. That's something you also mentioned. How much of this is correctable in a week? Because I think obviously pre and post snap could be fixed like that to a much better degree than once the ball is snapped, you have to be cleaner with your hands, that kind of stuff. But how much can you expect the penalties to be cleaned up from last week to this week?
I think there's a couple in there that you would say are probably more the mental side, right? But penalties are going to happen, and they're effort plays. I've never had a issue with those. Like guys are just playing hard and they get a flag thrown on a hold or whatnot. Those don't kill you. It's those post snap personal foul penalties, the roughing the kicker. And I honestly, like, not to be like Aggie guy here and being biased, but I felt like a couple of them really were not great calls.
Actually, both of them on 17. Albert were I thought bogus.
Yeah, the take. Like I didn't even in slow motion. It didn't look egregious.
I thought it was just the momentum of the play.
I didn't fully. That one was a little bit perplexing, but the unfortunate part about the penalties this last week, where they were incredibly penalizing, they took huge plays off the board.
Yeah, they were drive killers and drive extenders for Auburn.
Yeah, and well, yeah, that for them, but then us, it was like we have a 30-yard run call back. 40. It's just like it was. Big plays that came.
One of the bigger ones was on the personal foul on Basantis because you had gotten moved back.
And what was it?
I
watched it yesterday, and I still can't figure out what he did.
He must have chirped to the ref, said the wrong word.
Chirping to the ref is what I could tell from where I was, but that could be.
Well, that's easily fixed. Hey, don't say anything.
Exactly.
Real quick, we're behind Steven, so we're up against the break. But just your overall thoughts quickly on Marcel and a game where I thought he managed everything pretty well. From 30 to 30, they were great.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, the end of the day, quarterback's judged by winning, and this guy just keeps finding ways to win. He's still very young as a player, right, and getting better. There's so much room for even higher level of play, but he's already playing at such a high level. He deserves to be in the conversation. He's got his team at the top of the SEC right now. He's done everything he needs that his team has asked him to do. And if you're wanting the really, really good news, I think that it can only get better.
Do you see him playing more within the framework of the offense, on time with the football, in his progressions? That's something that I think the average fan doesn't see. They just look at completion percentage and yardage and think, oh, he's playing good. You see it at a different level. Do you see him being more in rhythm and more in the right places with his eyes?
I do. I think he's been patient, especially in zone defenses. I think the big question mark for this Aggie offense, they got challenged last week in man-to-man, and guys weren't running scot-free open. I think that they were open by man-to-man standards, and I think as a young quarterback, it's getting comfortable with, hey, I'm going to pull that trigger earlier. I'm going to trust that guy's there and not taking those sacks that we had.
And if you go look at some of the PFF numbers on Marcel, outstanding, as you mentioned, against zone coverage, but he's struggled mightily in man. Like his numbers are vastly different between zone and man, so you can expect, now it becomes maybe a trend, so more defensive coordinators may be going.
I think a lot of teams would be scared of playing man-to-man with KC and Craver out there, but some of these better SEC schools, not as scared. And if they feel like they can get pressure quickly, overloading it, that's the other thing I think for a young quarterback is, hey, can you take control of the protection up front to slide it to get those guys picked up so you don't get those free rushers?
And the more the A&M ground game becomes prevalent, the more they're going to want to start bringing guys closer and closer to the box, and you're going to have to win on the outside.
Ton of single high looks last week against Auburn.
All right, when we come back, we'll close the hour with OB, and McGee will continue rolling on with Swope coming in at 9 o'clock hour. It's a Thursday morning on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Miss Kitty, have you ever thought of running away? R.I.P. Toby Keith bringing you back. Final segment of the Go Hour on a Thursday morning. Ryan Broniger in the host chair. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We got to do a little buy, sell, hold, brought to you by Aggie on Paragon Financial Advisors. If you want financial guidance that truly puts you first, visit paragon-adv.com. We are buy, sell, hold SEC football teams through this portion of the season, through a month of the season. Steven, we're going to have you buy. Who are you buying?
I'll be the Aggie Kool-Aid guy over here. I'll buy Texas A&M. I thought, 4-0 was a big stepping stone. We talked about that, the momentum. I thought if you lose the Auburn game, it kind of changes the tone of this year. He's laughing.
I know.
He's really laughing. All right, go.
No, I wasn't laughing.
No, you were laughing because you were thinking about what you said to him in the commercial break whenever you got this. Olin worked this bit on McGee where he was like, do you think the quarterback is your 4-0, you get more kind of say-so in the locker room, all this stuff? And then Olin goes, I'm sorry, you wouldn't know. So go ahead, Steve, finish.
Save that for the show, right?
Exactly.
So what do you want me to do?
No, Steven, finish.
Finish, okay.
on why you're buying A&M.
They've done what they need to do. 4-0, Elko, the schedule's fitting. Let's roll.
Who you selling, OB?
I'm going to sell sorry, son. I got to sell those LSU Tigers.
Yeah. What, Steven, what's going on with their offense, man?
I don't know. It's perplexing, right? You would have thought of all the teams that they would be the one you would not guess. Yeah.
O-line.
Yeah, you got to eat.
They got no running game. And I think Nussmeier looks hurt.
Yeah.
Something's not right there.
Yeah, he's not playing the way you would expect.
And I'm going to hold, and we talked about him earlier.
You're going to be like the officials from last week.
I'm going to hold like the rest of the SEC, apparently. I'm going to hold the Missouri Tigers. Okay. I think very much TBD on what they are. Yep. Off to a good start, undefeated, but the schedule's about to tick up a little bit.
Same for Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt as well. I think Vanderbilt's probably, if you ask me, they've proven a little bit more than Missouri.
They're going to play each other pretty soon.
Right now, I think Ahmad Hardy's been a nice story. Mizzou's running game. I look at them. My eyes tell me they're an 8-4 football team that they may be skirting by. So I'm TBD right now on Mizzou.
I like it. Yeah.
OB, thank you. We'll get Swope in here. The fun will continue on TexAgs Live Thursday morning edition, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Makes me want to do another pair.
Yeah, let's set it up right here live on radio. TexAgs Live, Ryan Broniger, Ryan Swope, Stephen McGee. Whether you're gearing up for a hunt, a fishing trip, or just trying to survive September in College Station, Duck Camp has you covered. Check it all out at duckcamp.com. Built for the outdoors, designed for everything else. This segment brought to you by Duck Camp. Swopey's rocking the pants.
Yeah, I am, dude. These
The
things
long
are awesome.
sleeves. There you go. Get a look
like
at
that
those.
buck brush. Yeah, they're comfortable, man. Like in the shirts and the gear.
Good for walking around town or getting out on the ranch.
Heck yeah, man. I love their stuff. It's been comfortable.
What do you
Slinging
think?
ranches.
Yeah, and I just sent a picture to McGee. There's like 4 or 5 coyotes on this tract of land that we have listed right now. So we might need to go over there and take care of them.
And hammer.
Yeah.
Dang.
Might need to get the thermals out.
Oh.
I've been walking my dog earlier in the morning because I'm having to host a show this week.
Yeah.
And so I'm usually out there. It's still very dark when I'm walking her. Yesterday morning, something happened on Welborn Road on south of town, like a bunch of sirens and stuff. Got the coyotes up and going. And it was pretty – we got a bunch of them out there because the way that development's happening, it's running the rabbits out, right? And I'll probably see 20 rabbits every time I walk my dog. And so the coyotes are following the rabbits.
This guy is an animal when it comes to hunting coyotes. Like he can talk to them. He can speak.
Whoa.
He can speak their language. It's incredible.
Howl at the moon.
That's just my dog.
It's
That's just my
incredible.
dog. He's that's not true. I'm not. I turn on the call. I love to watch them come in. I'll say that
It's incredible.
it is. They're smart, dude. Coyotes are.
Yeah.
They're a challenge, man. That's like a SEC opponent.
What a great segue.
I love it.
No coyotes coming into town, but some Bulldogs this week. Slope, let's go back. Coyotes, Tigers, Bulldogs. But from a wide receiver perspective, not as explosive last week. McGee said they saw a lot more man coverage. It just wasn't there. Moving the ball from 30 to 30, fine, but just couldn't finish off drives. From your perspective as a former receiver, how frustrating is that?
I mean, it's self-inflicting wounds. I mean, I don't feel like they had a bad week. I think last year we saw a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
there's just some penalties here and there that killed drives, and I expect those guys to bounce back pretty big this upcoming weekend. I think that there's some mismatches in that secondary. And so, yeah, obviously we'd want them to eat a little bit more, but I think, Craver and KC will pick up right where they left off, and I've got full faith in those guys.
Steven, I wanted to ask you about the biggest swing point play of the game was the 3rd and 1 call where they throw the little inside screen to Bussey. I think the snap, from my perspective, the snap was soft and high throughout the timing of the whole thing.
Yeah.
What did you think of the call? And obviously it wasn't executed how it should have been, but if it's executed, would you have been okay with it?
Well, no one wants to point out that earlier in the game it was 3rd and 16, and they ran cover 0, and we threw a screen pass for a first down.
I know.
No one second guessed it. I get it because we're just running. They get up in a cover 0 look, and it's a potential for a blow up. And as a play caller, on your bingo card of possibilities is not an interception.
No.
And so it's like, hey, it's 2 down. You're going to have 2 downs. And so you like to be able to mix in a pass, just to keep them honest. Well, cover 0, you shouldn't get that first down, technically. Now, not to say we wouldn't have. I get it. Like, everyone's like, hey, just ride the momentum. They're tired. I don't disagree with that thought. I don't hate the call either. The result I don't like. I mean, the ball's got to be down.
But it should have been caught too.
It should have been caught too.
To me, it was 3 mess ups. A bad snap. Marcel didn't make a great throw, but then Terry should catch it.
Everyone. That's what team football is all about. So, I don't know. You can always second guess plays. I mean, I'm sure if Colin was sitting here now, he'd be like, yeah, I wish I would have just run that one,
He'd probably say that.
Yeah, but
I like the call. Honestly,
I don't hate
I think it goes to show you that Colin, I think he has a lot of faith in our receiving core, and he thinks that they can take it the distance anytime.
I do think that's a good look for it, right? If that screen pops, it might walk in.
Who was it? Was it UTSA or Utah State where we had bubble screen first man to the house?
UTSA, 2 of them.
I mean, there you go. I mean, we've shown that that's a not ideal scenario for the defense. Cover 0, flat top.
Yeah.
What was the biggest takeaway offensively for you on Saturday? Was it the running game?
I think the run game, yeah. I mean, obviously, I just love watching 8 carry the football. He's just a bruiser. He runs like he's angry. And just something about that I really love.
I do too, man.
Mind you, Ryan Swope wearing the red and blue at Austin Westlake.
He's just. he fights for every yard, doesn't run out of bounds, and he just punishes people.
He does.
I mean,
I thought the
imagine
offensive
trying
line
to take his
feeds off
kneecaps
that.
out.
Dude,
I mean,
oh, God.
Did not go well.
I thought the offensive line responded in turn and played well, too.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah.
I mean, the holding penalties killed some stuff.
Yeah, the one holding call in 54, I think that was in like the first quarter or second quarter. That was such a bad call.
Some of
that
those
was
calls were.
I did not see the hold there. And I'm not trying to be like, hey, Sunday morning quarterback over here critiquing referees. But like, some of that was just like, dude, that was like, I want it to be obvious on a slope replay view that it was an actual penalty. If it's not like clear and obvious in that view, then I feel like it shouldn't be thrown. Are you?
I'm with you. I think that there was a narrative going into the week about, how Auburn kind of got screwed around, and I feel like that those refs they felt the tension.
I don't know if you guys have
felt the tension, so they were just going to throw as many flags as possible.
They threw a bunch.
They did.
I don't know if you heard, but I've been talking about the officiating since I've been hosting. There are 10 teams in the SEC. 10 of the 16 are 100th or worse in penalties per game.
Let the boys play, man.
So is that a lack of discipline on the teams? It could be. I mean, you could look at every one of these calls. You'd have to go through them and say, okay, yeah, these are legit calls. Or it could be the SEC eating their own.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, also it's better caliber athletes too. It's harder to cover these guys. There's going to inherently be more holdings because
that's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
You got number 8 on the outside, and he's going to beat you over the top. What are you going to do? I'm going to tackle him. I'm going to give up 15.
Yeah,
not 100.
No kidding.
Well, that's a great segue. So, for both of you, were you more amused by the A&M defense or bemused by the Auburn offense?
Oh, dude, I'm excited about our defense. I mean, it's something that I'm not going to say yet to seen, but we've seen some really good flashes of good, but then we've seen some bad tackling.
Tackling's been much
pressuring the quarterback. We didn't first couple of weeks was kind of shaky. I mean, I feel like our defense was clicking on all cylinders. Yep. We were putting pressure on the quarterback. They were 0 for 13 on third downs. We're just tackling better. All of it was kind of there. So it was, man, that's encouraging. If our defense can do that week in, week out, and then, our offense, I'm not worried about our offense. I think that we've got some real dynamic playmakers. So if we can just put together a whole football game and clean up the penalties, man, dude, I mean, we got a lot to look
Yeah, somebody's going to catch A&M on the right day when A&M's – it's going to be the wrong day for them. It's going to be the right day for A&M.
Exactly.
And they're going to run off and leave somebody.
Yeah,
100%.
It could happen Saturday. Yeah.
It's close.
Stephen, for you, there's been a lot of talk and breakdown of the Auburn offense and just kind of its ineptness. But I look at it as A&M maybe piggybacked off of what Oklahoma did, but did it much better. Like Mike Elko had Jackson Arnold and Hugh Freeze in a blender. I mean, his eyes were all over the place. I thought A&M was super creative.
I did too. Mike Elko, to me, has had a very tangible effect the last couple of weeks on our
100%.
defense. You see some of the looks that he's dialed up, the ability to get free on a quarterback when you shouldn't be. You're dropping enough guys on the back. You're not going all out, cover zero, and you're still getting a free rusher, and you're putting your guys in a good position. You've coached them up throughout the week. They love to roll the quarterback, do the half roll, right? Auburn, which I've never really loved that play because it really eliminates half the field. So coverage-wise, you get really soft on the backside, and you just roll strong to the sprint. But what Torian York did a great job of, which is key, right? The minute that quarterback left the pocket on a roll, boom, teed him up. And it quickened the trigger for him when he got outside the pocket. Little things like that, you can see the effect of a coach on a football game and on a defense. And ever since the chair got thrown, this defense heard the message loud and clear.
I agree, man.
We got playback. I mean, I think the back end to me really improved. I mean, that was a concern with number 8 out there, and they shut him down.
The looks they gave Cam Coleman, I mean, sometimes it was Cassius Howell dropping off the edge underneath any kind of curl area. They doubled him over the top. They pressed him at the line. They gave him so many different looks. And for a kid that, if you talk to people around the league, and I talked to some professional scouts, like, this kid's a lay down first-round talent. Yep. And for A&M to frustrate the Auburn offense and him the way they did, I think it does speak to this game.
Yeah. How hard is it, like, as a quarterback, when a defensive coordinator throws so many looks your way? Can it be hard to
it's
dissect it, like, on the field?
Mental domination. Like, you start thinking, you start trying to guess, and It convolutes, like protections up front. You're moving a guy a foot, and all of a sudden, all your rules on your offensive line just changed. And smart defensive coordinators know that. And there are some defenses. I'm not to say like, hey, if I just line up and play Tampa 2 defense like Tony Dungy, that he's not smart. I think he has the horses to play that game and play Tampa 2 and go single high zone on first down, the old school. But like, if you don't have some GoDaddies on the edge, you dang well better have a coach that can dial it up, and Elko's that guy.
Yeah. I thought DJ Durkin did a pretty decent job on Saturday. And I think he's a good defensive coordinator. I think he showed that in his time here and over his career. But that's why, for me, I asked you what was your favorite part. It has to be the run game, going for over 200 against one of the best run defenses in the country and a front seven that's got real NFL dudes in it.
Yeah.
They had some animals up front, too.
Yeah,
they rotated a ton of them on the defensive line.
It didn't matter. I mean, we really dominated them. The score does not indicate the outcome of that game.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because
what they have,
we had
414 yards.
414.
And only scored one touchdown? Or two?
Yeah.
One touchdown.
One touchdown.
The opening drive.
That's crazy.
But they had 176 yards of offense.
Dude,
I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, it's hard to even.
Yeah.
I don't care what. I mean, sure, you could say, hey, the offense coordinator's got to play better, but that's a defense that overwhelmed an offense and just kicked their 1 yard of offense in the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah. The scoreline was completely flattering for Auburn.
How many times does that happen?
Dude, we're 4-0, man.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 4-0.
Just like Coach Elko said. No doom and gloom. Like, let's talk about what you could have done. It's what you have done. It's your 4-0, and you're looking at a team in Mississippi State that I think a lot of folks will tell you much better than a lot of preseason prognostications indicated.
Yep.
4-1. They took Tennessee to the brink last week. Swope, you had a very nice game in Starkville when you played Mississippi State. But since then, this series has been even. What are you looking for on Saturday night?
Man, I'm just a little nervous. I just feel like here over the last decade, we've had problems with Mississippi schools.
Yeah, with no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a real thing.
But Mississippi State just came off of, a battle.
Yeah.
Who they play? Tennessee?
Yeah.
Lost in overtime.
That's a really good football team. I feel like we're catching all these teams coming off these really close wins and, close situations. So we're definitely going to be tested. I think Mississippi State, they can run the football. So we're going to be tested up front. Can we win the line of scrimmage? I think that's the biggest takeaway from this game. How can we respond? They're good at running the football. How good can we be against the run?
Yep.
Vegas seems everybody's looking at this line and going, why is A&M favored by 14.5? Mississippi State has shown they'll play close. That is a strange spread for me, Stephen, but it's Mississippi State's first venture outside of their borders. They stay on the road at Southern Miss. They've played at home. It's their first road trip. 108 going to be 108,000.
I knew that was going to be the next question. Yeah, I don't know, dude. That's hard.
Golly,
14 points. 14.5.
It makes me feel better about the outcome because Vegas doesn't miss very often.
Dude, they're good.
I mean, think about how they had it at -6.5
that's
last
a lot
week.
Of points,
Auburn covered by a half point, and everything said A&M should have blown them out, but yet it was still within the number. 14.5. Like I said, that is a big number. There's a lot of folks on Mississippi State this week because that number's so big. But what I'm asking you, Stephen, is how much can you going on the road for the first time, essentially, the road game was at Southern Miss in Hattiesburg. Probably more Mississippi State fans there than Southern Miss.
Sure.
And they're coming to this place, the 108,000 and a blackout. I think that's worth a few points.
I do too. It'll be night games in the SEC are proven. I mean, that's a huge advantage. And our place.
And we're blacking out, bro.
Everybody's
going to black out.
Yeah.
We're going blackout or back
included,
out.
Man. See Bronny, how hilarious would it be to look up in the top right corner, up against the concrete wall. There's Bronny, all black, just blacked out. Just
sunglasses on at night. Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a daunting task for Blake Shapen and that offense to come in here, communicate, handle the noise, handle the looks, handle the Elko defense, the pressures. I feel good about us winning. I don't know about the cover. Don't get me lying on that.
Yeah.
But our offense, I think we'll put up points. I think we'll be dynamic. I feel good about it.
But to your point, Swope, the way you silence a crowd, run the football and get into your tempo.
Yep.
Right? And that's what they want to do. So that's the path for Mississippi State to make this really interesting.
That's what you got to do. Get first downs, sustain drives, and get that defense tired. That's what Auburn couldn't do.
I think Marcel has a huge night put in the call.
Yeah, I love it.
I think so too. I think A&M's going to score in the 30s, and I don't know that Mississippi State can get there. And how you want to take that in regards to 14.5 points, that's one thing. But I think A&M can get into well into the 30s.
Yep.
And I don't know how deep into the 20s Mississippi State will get. They're going to need some help to me. Non-offensive touchdown, something like that.
Yeah, special team. I mean, those. We don't talk a lot about special teams, but it has a huge impact, right? I mean, field goals and.
That guy doesn't have as big of a leg as I thought, though. Our kicker,
Randy Bond.
Yeah, he's very accurate, but
inside of 50, he's been good.
Yeah.
But you look at that, and the end of the half against Notre Dame, the end of the half against Mississippi State, those aren't easy kicks. But, man, how big a momentum it would be to hit them and go into the locker room with some juice.
Yeah.
And against Auburn, if you make them, then the game's out of hand. Even with field goals, it's well out of hand.
Yeah.
So you got Marcel having a big week. Is there anybody that kind of picked a click for you?
Dude, Le'Veon Moss, for me, it's – I want to see us run the ball. I would love to see him get 100 yards every week. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Like
that
Zeke.
offensive line, yeah, like Zeke.
And then on the defensive side?
I think we just continue to do what we did last week. We'll be good. I've got full faith in Mike Elko, what he's doing.
Yeah.
Is Scooby back, or what's the
He's
status?
questionable.
Questionable.
Is he day by day? Yep.
Okay.
I'll tell you,
But Damian Sanford has played well in his stead.
Damian Sanford's played well.
He has.
He
Troy
makes
York
flash
had his
plays.
best week,
Yeah.
and Onyedum is another guy no one really talks about, and that dude's been a beast. He's just
DJ
flashes.
Hicks has played well.
DJ Hicks has played well. The
Albert
interior-
Regis has been consistent. Like the front seven for A&M, you look throughout the duration of the season, it's been the big plays early that hit them, the chunk plays. But if you make them down to down, they're pretty good, man.
Yeah,
they've been
I'll tell
pretty
you,
good.
The best comeback story for me has been Des Ricks.
Yeah.
At corner.
Mm.
That dude. I think last year he struggled at times, and then this year I thought he's been really, really good through four weeks. It's a huge surprise. I know they're flipping him and Will Lee last week, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if y'all saw that, going strong side, weak side on early downs, but he's
improved a ton.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better. I mean,
that's great to see.
And I think Will Lee too, right? Like from the first couple weeks.
I think
now,
he turned the switch on.
Yeah,
100%.
something's changed.
I think he may have coasted through those first two, Utah State, UTSA, and said, all right, Notre Dame, here we go. Now, as a professional scout, you're going to go, hey, dude, you should turn it on all the time.
Yep.
But that's the human nature with some of this stuff you have to fight.
Yeah, for sure.
What about Mario Craver against his old team? Big night?
Oh, I didn't put that together.
Yeah, I didn't either.
He'll probably have a huge night.
100%.
Would love to see it.
I know. Need to see it.
All right, guys, I appreciate you coming in. Stephen McGee, Ryan Swope. That brought to you by Duck Camp. On the other side of the break, we're going to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Talk to a great friend of the program, Aaron Torres, as we roll on a Thursday morning. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, headed toward the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. We thank you for joining us on a Thursday morning edition of TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. I'm Ryan Broniger in the host chair for the next couple of days inside the Rollo Insurance Studios. And every week on Thursday at this time, we go out to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, and we talk to a great friend of the program, a knower of all things college football and college basketball, maybe some college baseball. I don't know if you're delving into that yet, AT. Aaron Torres joins the show. It is brought to you by Milliken Reserve, a College Station community featuring homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces with a mission to build healthy community around nature. Take part in the Milliken Reserve community with a Conservancy membership. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. AT, good morning.
Bronny, what's up, my man? Yeah, I got to be honest. One, I'm not even sure that I'm a knower of all things college football anymore. I was one of those schlubs that had Clemson being one of the best teams in college football. But one thing for sure, man, I'm going to rely on you and Kendall Rogers for the baseball deep dive until about Memorial Day weekend. Once we get to Memorial Day, you know, all bets are off. I'm going to have the hottest takes coming. But until then, I'm just going to count on you and the guys that do this on a day-to-day basis.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Know where you fit in. Know your lane. That's very, very wise of you, AT. So where you do fit in is the college football landscape, no matter how self-deprecating you want to be. One of the things that we were going over this morning that got us into a spirited discussion was contender or pretender in the SEC. So I'm going to give you a list of 3 schools. You tell me, go through each, whether you think these teams are contenders or pretenders. A pair of Tigers, Missouri and LSU, and then the Texas Longhorns. You got contender or pretender on those 3 clubs?
Well, we live in a 12-team playoff world now where you don't have to be a contender in the SEC to be a contender for the playoff. So I'll make this quick and easy. I'm going to go contender or pretender for the SEC title because that's how this conversation was framed. A big fat no, and no. Although I could see 2 of the 3 getting into the college football playoff. I actually think it's over for LSU. You know, Brody, that was one. You know, LSU. I'll be quick because I'm sure you want to talk about some other stuff. That was one that I was right and then I was wrong and then I was right again. I've never understood the Garrett Nussmeier hype. I've never trusted it, and I was out on them coming into the year. I didn't have them in the playoff conversation. Then the Clemson game skewed everything. And now I'm back to right where I was is, you know, I think even the defense is good, you know, but I think coming out of the Clemson game, we were all sitting there saying, is this a top 5 defense in college football? Now I think, you know, we saw last week against Ole Miss, they give up, you know, almost 500 yards of total offense, probably closer to a top 25 defense, which is good. But in this world with that offense, I don't even know that a top 25 defense is going to win you the minimum 9 games necessary. So I will say pretender on all 3. And I think, frankly, you know, without having all the schedules in front of me, I think Missouri might actually have the best path out of all those teams to a serious run to a college football playoff.
Yeah, I think of all those teams, I would agree with you. But I had Mizzou as the team that I know the least about at this point in the season because, let's be honest, up to this juncture, Aaron, that schedule's been a joke. But I do think Bo Perbula's probably given them more than they thought coming into the season. And then if you're looking for an under-the-radar underdog Heisman vote right now at plus 3,000 still is Ahmad Hardy. If you're a believer in the Missouri Tigers, it might be worth sprinkling some money on Ahmad Hardy.
Yeah, you know, I'll just say in general, I feel like more than ever, the schedules feel really weird this year. You know, Missouri opens with 7 straight home games to open the season. It's like, what are we even doing? You know, I think, what is it? A&M have 3 straight at home and then 3 straight on the road. I could be mistaken on that. You know, whatever. So it's just the schedules feel really weird. I'm with you. Hardy's been one of the most unsung players in college football. Really quickly, you know, you said self-deprecating, you said whatever, but one thing I do have is bold takes. How about this one for a bold take I'll give for you right now? Oklahoma will win the Red River Shootout next week, regardless of whether John Mateer is in uniform and active or not. How you like that for a bold take?
That's pretty bold considering what we've seen out of Michael Hawkins in his time as a starter at Oklahoma. He will have to got that much better. But I think what you're saying, Aaron, and correct me if I'm wrong, is You could see Texas losing on the road in the Swamp this week, and they've not given you anything to make you really believe in the Longhorns.
So what I'm saying is that part, I don't believe in the offense. I don't believe they're fixed because they put up 55 points on Sam Houston State. And then conversely, I do actually think Oklahoma's defense is that good. I think, listen, I'm not the scheme guy, the scheme expert. You guys have other people for that. But I think they're the best defense that I've seen in college football. And I know what people would say, well, Auburn, we A&M fans saw firsthand how inept that Auburn offense is right now. But you go back to the Michigan game, I think they gave up something like 263 yards of total offense, and 75 of those yards came on one play. And so essentially they held Michigan well under 200 yards if you take out one play. The Auburn game speaks for itself. And I really do believe that defense is that good. And when you're going up against an offense as inept as I think Texas is, I think it sets up for a scenario where it's going to be ugly, but I think they'll have enough in the tank. Maybe I'm dead wrong on this, but I think there is something to veteran team, been through the wars. There's still a lot of guys on that team that lost 6 games, 7 games last year. So that is one of my bold predictions. I think it's a little bit of me being really high on Oklahoma's defense. And then, of course, I think the conversation about Texas offense at this point speaks for itself.
Oftentimes in this college football world, truth is stranger than fiction. And AT, Bobby Petrino rides again in Fayetteville. Just your thoughts on him being named the interim, immediately axing coaches in the future of that job.
Yeah, first of all, it's crazy. I was in Fayetteville when he was hired as the OC. Arkansas basketball was playing Duke. I went down there, to cover the game. And, as I'm riding into town, the news breaks, and they actually introduced him at the basketball game. And I'll tell you, he was sitting in a box with Sam Pittman. I think even Sam Pittman was surprised at how much the fans reacted to Bobby Petrino. I mean, I just remember the whole, 17,000 people at Bud Walton Arena screaming, "We want Bobby, we want Bobby." And by the way, if you go back and look, that game turned into a blowout. How about this, Bronny? It was with 5 minutes to go, the game was over, and they keep chanting, "We want Bobby, we want Bobby," before they rush the court after beating Duke. But I only bring it up because the love affair is real. The schedule is also real as well. By the way, the defensive stuff, I'm not surprised by. He's not tied to those guys. He doesn't have to be loyal to those guys. And ultimately, at the end of the day, let's also remember, this is the last shot he's going to get to ever be a head coach at a job in the SEC as prominent as Arkansas. Even if it's a bottom-tier SEC job, there's only 16 of them on the planet. So I really wasn't surprised to see him take the axe. And I think the big question is, what is it actually going to take for him to retain the job? I think probably 4-3 in the final 7, which gets you to 6-6 and bowl eligible. But you look at the schedule, it's hard to find 4 wins on there. So I think it's an interesting story. I still think he has his work ahead as far as actually doing enough to keep the job full time.
We're up against the clock, Aaron, but we got to ask you your thoughts on A&M's victory over Auburn, what the Aggies' outlook on the season. If you could be, a succinct version of your stance on Texas A&M here after beating Auburn.
Succinct is not my strong suit, but I'll do my best. No, I'll just be quick. Impressive to a degree. Auburn's a mess, a lot of penalties, a lot of stuff to clean up. I think it's going to be interesting this weekend, and I'll be brief. But Elko, before the Auburn game, talked about how worried he was about the defense. And I don't know if the defense got fixed or if Auburn's offense is that bad. Obviously, I think Jeff Levy's team is going to be a bit more explosive. I still think A&M wins, but I think we actually learned a little bit about that defense this weekend at Kyle Field.
AT, you're the best, man. Enjoy the weekend.
No, you're the best, Bronny. We'll talk soon, brother. Take care, man. Thank you.
All right, Aaron Torres on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. When we come back, school is in session with Jim Turner, presented by Paragon Financial Advisors. We're TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Howdy, everybody. Welcome back to TexAgs. It's our weekly conversation with former Texas A&M offensive line coach Jim Turner. The Aggies coming off a 200-yard rushing performance. This sit-down with Coach Turner is brought to you by Paragon Financial. Coach, it has to warm your heart that in an SEC game, the line of scrimmage and for the entire week leading up to the Auburn game, they talked about the front seven for the Auburn Tigers, and the Aggies went in there and ran the ball down their throat. Le'Veon Moss, Reuben Owens, the whole gambit, and they did it in a lot of different ways.
Yep. And you really saw Le'Veon commit to his own in this game. They used him the way they wanted to use him. I would have liked to see them use him more in the fourth quarter instead of throwing those screens out there and all that stuff and putting yourself in a bad position at the end of the game. Just run the ball. They couldn't stop 8 from running the football. So, I mean, what he brings to the table, and the other running backs are good players too. I thought the line did a really good job. Obviously, there's some things to clean up with the false starts and all that business. And some of the holds, obviously were an issue. Some of the holds I don't agree with at all from the officiating, and some of them I do. I'll talk about that later on. And then on defense, they dominated the game, right? So the defensive line dominated the game. And 21 played a great game at linebacker. He had to be 50% of the tackles. And so I just thought our defensive line just dominated. So, and, if you look at Auburn themselves, I mean, they really were not impressive at all. Like on third down, they were 0 for 13. Yeah. So not one, they couldn't convert one time on third down. And the packages that Mike puts in there on third down are very difficult to block, but they struggled to get targeted. Just some of the things they did, they didn't turn the ball over either. Like, they played a sound game that way, but they couldn't do anything. The quarterback couldn't convert. Time of possession, the Ags had the ball 34 minutes. Auburn had the ball 25 minutes. I mean, all those things are going to win you football games. Auburn, we had 5 sacks. Auburn, we actually gave up 4 sacks in that game. And that's something that can be cleaned up as well. Early in the season with a quarterback like we have, that stuff's going to happen. But the big thing for them is, like on offense, you really have like every dimension covered, right? You have a quarterback that can run, a quarterback that can throw. You have a really good running game with your running back number 8 and the other guys, and then the line's doing a good job. And then, of course, your receivers are deadly. Right. So, I think the tough thing is, as a coordinator, you're trying to find ways, like when you start a game plan, you pretty much say, it's like a batting lineup, right? I mean, how do we produce the most runs? You know what I mean? So who's going to bat where and how do we complement each other? And when you start a game, and that's by personnel, right? It's all by the guy that's going to be standing at the plate hitting, right? So, and it's the same thing, right? You try to find, you just go right down the line. Like if I'm coaching, I go, okay, who has to touch the ball the most on offense? Probably number 1, number 7, and number 8. So those 3, right? And maybe you probably rearrange that and put number 8 as the first guy. He needs to touch the ball 25 times. Number 1 needs to touch it 8 times. Number 7 needs to touch it 8 times in order to give us the best chance of producing the most yards and the most points on offense. That's why, one of my favorite things is stats is for losers, right? Because if that's what you're talking about, because everybody says that. And as a line coach, I put a lot of emphasis on how many yards we're going to run for in the game and all that. And I tell them, you don't score touchdowns, but, you produce touchdowns. And you are obviously the piece that gets everything done on that field as far as the connecting piece. But, you got to score. You got to score points. So I know that'll be a point of emphasis. We've all coached in games like this when you just can't cross the goal line. For whatever reason, we were 3 for 14 on third down, which is not good. And so, I think if you change that one piece, number one, the best way to not be 3 for 14 on third down is not to be in third down. So if you can get more yards on first and second down, and I think if you could do it over again, like we ran the ball 47 times, so that's a lot of runs. Okay, but I'd run it even more against that team.
Well, and when you go and you start looking at the film from those 47 runs, was there a scheme that stood out that you thought Colin Klein and the Aggie offensive line executed better than maybe some others? Because coming in, like I said, that Auburn front seven, very highly regarded and had been good against the run.
The problem that they had, though, was you got 7 and 1 on the outside. You know what I mean? And so defending those two guys, right? So every defensive coordinator starts with this. Okay, how do we not give up in one play 7 points? So that's their biggest fear, is getting knocked out, right? So most of them are going to line up with 2 high safeties, which is what they were doing, right? You line up with 2 high. And when you do that, you got to run the football. And so, you know, you coach in an NFL game. If they line up in 2 safeties, it's a run. If they don't, you know, then you try to run maybe with a lead blocker and all that, but it's a throw. It's that easy. You know?
You dumb it down like that. Yeah, it's very easy. And I like what you said. The stats are for losers. I've always said stats are for people that don't go to the game. Yeah. Because if you go to the game, you can watch and you can tell who had the better half of the game. And I thought for sure A&M did. As a coach, especially with the offensive line, what can Adam Cushing do with his guys? Are you just more frustrated with pre and post snap stuff? Or can you really coach, like, once the ball snapped, we got to be better with our hands, don't get out leverage, that kind of deal?
Yeah, he's coaching the same. I mean, it's just a repetitive job, the same thing every day, you know. Get off, first meaningful contact, all that stuff. Every day it's, you're grading yourself on all that stuff. So, can he do anything different? I think the big thing is, like you had 2 personal fouls in that game from 17, on the tackle when he slammed the guy down. And then 71, the left guard, he got one. He must have said something to the umpire or something. And he was right. I defend him on the play that I believe he was talking about, but it's the way that you say it, of course. You know what I mean? So, and then, of course, 17, right? He's a very emotional kid, right? So he's going to finish that play. Like, to me, a lot of these calls, like if I'm a referee, the referees are dominating football games in every level. Like, you watched the Monday night game the other night between the Broncos and the Bengals. I mean, I couldn't even watch it. Yeah. Like, they're calling everything. If I'm a referee, right, I'm going to try and stay out of the spotlight. If I get the job, right, the problem is half these referees, right, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't get enough attention from their mom when they were 5, so now they're going to get the attention, right? So they think, oh, they're on TV, they're going to throw. Come on, man. So, like when I'm watching the game the other night, I can see some of these things. Like, I would be constantly yelling at the lineman, get your hands down, get your hands down. And I would be talking to them the whole game. Hey, if you hold him one more time, I'm going to call it. You know what I mean? If your hands are on the face, like this rule about hands to the face is the dumbest rule ever. To think that it's like saying in a boxing match, hey, listen, if you hit the guy in the face, okay, it's a penalty, right? You can't you're going to get hit in the face. Now, when you keep the hand in the face, that's different. I understand that. That should be against the rules. I get that. But if a guy just swiping on defense and he hits you in the jaw, that's your problem. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to happen, but they call it. I would never, if I was a referee, I would never call that. And I didn't get any attention from my mom either.
Well, Coach, before we get you over to the big board, what were some of your just overarching takeaways? I know that for the fan base, it like I said, that 207 yards rushing really stood out because over the course of the 3 previous games, kind of had an idea that Marcel with his arm, with these receivers, could make the big chunk plays. But when they had to have it on the ground, especially with 8, they were really good.
Oh, yeah. And I really felt, like I said before, I really felt like at the end of the game, if they just lined up in 12 personnel and said, we're going to run the ball at this team, there's no way that they could have stopped that. And so, going forward, I just think that the run game, obviously, I love the run package that they have. They mix in there, it's a lot of zone, and then they have a nice counter package, and then 12 personnel. You saw them block down on the edge with the tight ends are doing a good job blocking. They did a great job blocking down on the edge, and then they pulled 71, and they pulled the backside tight end and ran a power play out to the right, and they broke it late in the game. And those plays, like if you just look at the whole SEC, like I watched Mississippi State, I watched Tennessee, watch all these teams, and I just do not see, other than Georgia and Alabama, in the line, in the trenches, just dominant teams. Like those 2 teams are pretty dominant. They have great fronts. Every other team is very beatable teams as far as the front's concerned in terms of running the football. I'm not saying we couldn't run it against those 2 teams either. We probably could. But I'm just saying in terms of just totally being challenged, I just don't see it this year
from a defensive standpoint about not being able to run against certain teams. I think they'll be able to run this football effectively for the rest of the year.
Well,
And
the fan base it's got to fire up a lot of Aggie fans because, and to me, when I think about
Welcome back into TexAgs Live. I'm Luke Evangelist, not Ryan Broninger, just bringing us back here. Me and Alex Schoonover are going to have a little chat as we get you to Coach Earley what you all have been waiting for in the 10 o'clock hour. Sorry to the fan show guys, but you have been overshadowed by the head ball coach over at Bluebell Park, who's going to be on the show in just about 5 minutes, so stay tuned for that. But for right now, let's go over to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Alex Schoonover has a text message for us. Alex?
Yeah, so Matt in Houston is live in the text chat. His question is, interested in seeing if the defense can handle tempo this season. I mean, they handled it very well against Auburn, and I guess we're looking to see if they can handle that, down the road. Mississippi State and Florida coming into Kyle Field. So I'm also very interested in the same aspect.
Yeah, I agree. That's going to be definitely one of the talking points as Jeff Lebby's offense makes their way to Kyle Field.
Yep.
I think this defense specifically, you look at the secondary, a lot of guys have been playing 95+% of snaps. They're starting to more fill into their starting roles as opposed to the first couple games they were rotating more. So maybe you'll see more snaps for those secondary guys, maybe like a Julio Humphrey or Jordan Shaw, who kind of got those backup roles locked down. But when you start picking up tempo and you go from maybe 50, 60 snaps to 80 to 90, like an Ole Miss might do to you or a Mississippi State, it'll be key to see how that depth plays this week and then also moving forward as that SEC gauntlet continues. But you're not here to see me talk. You're here for Ryan Brauninger and, most importantly, Coach Earley, who's going to be on the other side of this break. So stay tuned. We will get you right to that in just about 4 minutes. This is TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
text Coach Sherm this morning.
Welcome back to TexAgs Live. We're kicking off the 10 o'clock hour on this Thursday. The Aggie baseball team getting ready for one of 2 fall exhibition games on Friday night at 6 o'clock, Bluebell Park, Olson Field. The Sam Houston State Bearcats come in, and we welcome in Aggie head baseball coach Michael Earley. Year 2, man. It seems like last year, whenever we had you in ahead of these scrimmages, a lot of the questions were like, hey, what have you learned about being the head coach? And one of the things that you constantly said was like, man, your phone rings. Has your phone started to ring less, or have you started to understand how much it's going to ring more?
It doesn't even bat an eye. It's done learning, time to start winning. So we're everyone's doing great. Organization's great, tightened up in a good spot, and really like where we're at as a whole.
Tightened up. Let's expound upon that, because some of the things that I know that you guys have been working on that may have been a little bit different from last year. 2-strike plan, implementing more base running stuff with Cliff Pennington, I want to get into. But just your overall thoughts coming into this fall. I know you had a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, and how has that kind of come out in your coaching style, you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's real simple. Our fall plan is real simple. We want to do the common things uncommonly well, and you either win or you lose, period, in everything we do. And to the credit to our players, especially their returners, everyone, they've just done a phenomenal job of buying into what we're doing, because we're not selling something that's not hard to believe in, right? And it's not something we hadn't done, but it's just more of an emphasis on all those little details in everything we do. And credit to our players, man. I mean, we have pushed them about as hard as you can push them for baseball, and their response. We've had some good practices. We've had some bad ones. They've responded after every practice that, we didn't necessarily like. So credit to them and all their hard work they put in this fall.
When you went into the coaching market last offseason, you'd probably done a lot of research on Cliff Pennington. What have you seen from him since he's been on your staff now in the day-to-day that I would imagine is going, yeah, this is the right guy for this spot?
Yeah, he's just really good at what he does, from the infield defense and base running, and even the hitting side. He brings some nuggets into that part of it, but he's really good baseball guy, man, really good. And what I like about him, and what I like about any coach, is just his level of care is off the charts. Like, he wants to be in the building every single day. This is what he wants to do, and he's awesome. Like, he's the reason he's doing the base running is he's really good at it. And he's done some things that I've never seen before as far as drill wise that are like, oh man, that's really, really good. That's really, really good. And just, his overall ability to connect with players is awesome. Obviously relatable because he played and had a ton of success, but he just knows the game. So even if he had never played a day and did what he did every day, he's really, really easy to respect because you feel the care, you see the work ethic, and he's just a really awesome guy.
You talked about the way the players have responded. How much of that has been on the leadership group of Grahovic and Sadeo and Stewart and Sorrell? Have you seen, you've known Gavin Grahovic now for like the last 6 years of his life, 5 years of his life. Have you seen that maturity level continue to expound? Mature kid to begin with, but now there's a lot more on his shoulders.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a responsibility you take on when you're a veteran in this program. And leadership doesn't have to always come from a veteran. I think we got some young guys that'll step up and take that role too. But Gavin, Shane, Stewie, all those guys have done a phenomenal job of, you got to want to do that, right? You have to want to do that. You can't hide from it. It's uncomfortable at times. It can be lonely at times. But us as coaches, we have to do a really good job of empowering those guys and letting them know what we want. And we have, and they've done it. And they've taken that step of being uncomfortable. And it's your buddy off the field, but right now it's not your buddy, it's your teammate. And there's a difference in that. And as of right now, we haven't really turned the heat up in a real game yet. We haven't made one lineup yet. That's when the challenge comes, because in fall practice, everyone plays, everyone hits. Now, that'll happen on Friday, but not everyone's starting the game. So you got to be a leader to those guys that maybe aren't playing. And at the same time, if you're one of those guys that's a leader and you aren't playing, that's a challenge, right? And it's about being a teammate. And as of right now, I like where it's at. We will get challenged tomorrow from a team perspective and an attitude perspective, and there will be no give in. There's a line drawn, and you're in or you're out. And I'm not saying that because it's been bad. I like our group, and I like how our group's going to be able to handle that.
It would be a disservice to the folks listening if I didn't ask about Chris Akopian. Won't play on Friday. I can tell you this. He came in here and told me he wants to play against TCU. We'll see if you guys let him. But the competitive nature is something that you spoke about in the media session, something that his teammates have spoken about, how he gets after it in the weight room. When you get a high-profile guy like that, I think you always wonder of how it's going to mesh when they get here. Same deal with Braden whenever he came. Chris was of Braden's kind of acclaim coming in. How have you seen him mesh with the group?
Yeah, it was real evident when Chris was on his visit, the kind of guy he was. And we wanted him, right, regardless because of the talent. But after having him on the visit, you wanted even more because the kind of person you felt like he was and the energy he brings. And every day, he's on a mission. Like, he's on a flat-out mission. And guys see that. And he's a guy that's going to, I think, he has a lot of leadership qualities. He's already shown them. And, yeah, I'd love to see him play. Will he play? Yeah, if he can play, I'm playing him, period. Like, if you can play, you're playing. If you can't play, you're not playing. So if it comes to the point where he's had enough swings where I'm not necessarily worried about his hand, it's worried about other parts of his body, right? Everything from swinging. If we feel like he's in the right swing shape, he'll be playing in the game.
And then two guys that are coming back, but were in their first year in the SEC, first year in the program last year. I'm interested to see kind of the developmental arc and curve of Terrence Keel and Bear Harrison. Where have you seen them make progress this fall?
Specifically just from a confidence standpoint, Bear's a completely different guy than he was when he came last fall. Kind of that guy you saw a little bit during the spring. I still don't know if there's a high level of confidence, like a decent one, but I think coming in this year,
he knows. Yeah, he knows. He can play.
And you know what? There's two other catchers on the team, like Zane Becker. Like, he's really good, right? So there's a ton of competition in that too. So and Bear's done an awesome job. And TK, same thing. You see a big jump from freshman to sophomore year. I think bigger than others from a maturity standpoint, a strength standpoint. TK played in a great summer program out in Santa Barbara this year with a really good coach. I think that helped him a ton. He's making great plays in the outfield, hitting. We're kind of working through a little bit of stuff, but just getting him back to where he's at. And yeah, he's TK, like he lights up the room. He's awesome to be around, and he'll really benefit from Cliff on the base pass because while TK might have looked like he was good at running the bases, TK was fast.
There's a big difference.
There's a big difference. So now we want to get TK more technically sound and all those little intricacies of base running, which there's a ton, with speed, and that's when you have someone that can really create some havoc.
Well, speaking of somebody with speed that can create some havoc, that you brought in, an old face returns in Travis Chestnut. What was that like as he was going through the process to file for the waiver for an extra year? And was it always going to be Texas A&M or the job market for Travis?
Yeah, he had a lot of other schools on him. Some big-time Power 4 schools. Why wouldn't you? I mean, with what he's shown he can do at this level and with that speed component, but it was always A&M for him. It was a real he visited, and it took about an hour, and he was all in. And I think the coolest part about him was the reaction of the guys that played with him before when they heard he was coming back. It was a unanimous, super fired up, and he's a great kid, man, and love having him around. And we've kind of had to get him back into that mode of what it is at this level, and just naturally he's playing at a different level, and just what a weird, incredible circumstance that he was not allowed to play on my team last year, but he's allowed to play on my team this year. I'm just really glad to have him back in the building.
It's more evidence that the rules are very
arbitrary, right?
Arbitrary, very thinly veiled as rules.
He's done a great job, though. We've mainly had him at second base. We know he can play center field when we need it, but it's going to be second center field. That there's not a team in the country that doesn't want a player like Travis Chestnut on your team. It just depends on how you use him.
Yeah, and late in the game, man, you know what kind of value he has. For whatever reason, opposing defenses see him on the bases and they just speed up.
Yeah.
And there's so many kind of unforced errors. He's not even doing anything and the ball gets kicked away because they're in a hurry. I think it was a big addition to your roster.
And I think for him, I'm like, he needs to understand, and I'm not saying he knows because he'll understand, but what success is for him, it's how many times you get on base. Mm-hmm. And that's your on base percentage / I told him yesterday, if you go 0 for 4, but you made the defense hurry and make 4 errors and you got on base, for Coach Earley, that's 4 for 4.
Yeah.
And so his ability to get on base, you got to construct a lineup in a way where it can't be all slug. It can't be all on base percent. You need someone to hit him when they get in.
Right.
And it can't be all speed, right? And he brings that component of, I need you to get on base. I don't care how you do it. You go hit left-handed, right-handed. Your job is to get on base. He's
And
not hitting left-handed.
Yeah, and that's been one of the themes I thought going into the offseason was like, hey, we're playing the whole game. You try to do that every year, but now I think you've got a roster to play the whole game, and you brought in Cliff Pennington to help with that. And I want to talk about two of the portal guys that you brought in. You talked about guys that can slug. Let's talk about Wesley Jordan. You talk about guys that get on base. Let's talk about Jake THUR, two old guys from the state of Texas that you brought in to make impacts in both the slug and on-base category.
Yeah, I really just wanted the lineup to be complete, right? I want to be able to, you say, play the whole game. I want to say win in many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, we take practice now where it's like when we hit, every time we hit, there's a north wind. We're not hitting like the wind's blowing out, even if it is blowing out. We wanted to bring in guys that could fit and do that. So it's like Chris Akopian had a 10.8% strikeout rate in college baseball. That's incredible. Jake THUR hit 428 with a 498 on base. He only hit 2 homers, but he stays on base, while he's good on base. Wesley Jordan has a really good line drive, double swing, hit 10 home runs. I think there's more power in there, but those type of guys to fit our lineup with what we already have give you the ability with a guy like Chestnut, Keel, Grahovic, Sorrell, a lot of different players, and we can beat you in a lot of different ways offensively. And they've all done a really good job of controlling the strike zone. They've done a really good job with 2-strike approach. They've done a really good job of, if you're going to get hit by a pitch and you got 2 strikes, like, you're not freaking moving out of the way. And we targeted specific guys, and we did an awesome job. Like, Caleb did an incredible job of, we got the guys that we wanted, right? You have a list of guys, and we felt really good about the fact that we got a lot of the guys we wanted. We weren't trying to have a huge overhaul. We got a lot of really good players here. We added the quality kids and quality players that make us a more complete lineup, and I'm just really excited to get them out there and get them into one team instead of 2.
And a group of kids that you're going to be getting out in front of the 12th man for the first time is a group of kids that I know the staff is excited about in these true freshmen. We'll start with the hitters. And it's funny that you say you start with the hitters with that freshman group, and you got guys like Nico Partita and Luke Billings, so are hit and pitchers.
Yeah.
But just the overall talent level of that group, and anticipate having them be a story of Friday night, at least to start.
Yeah, they're good. They're as talented of freshmen as I think ever been in here, and different, right? They're not all the same. Like Gavin and Jace were a different type of talented freshmen. Same thing with TK, but Nico is one of those guys that is a really good hitter, plays with a low heartbeat, and he can jump on the mound. He'd be 97, 98. He's got to face in different competition. Like his first time he pitched, he did well. Pitched against the other night, and they got him a little bit. That's going to happen. It's probably never happened to him that much. And Luke Billings is he's just a baseball player, like flat out baseball player. Hit a home run the other night, then came out and struck out 2, made a diving play in the outfield. We've done a good job as a whole just managing their bodies. It's really hard to do to be a two-way guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of two-way guys that are going to be starting pitchers and start at shortstop. It's just, you might say it's going to happen. It's not high school baseball. It's not going to happen. So they're mainly going to be relievers. And, yeah, there's a few other guys from Boston. Kellner's done an awesome job. Like, he's physical. I think he's 19 years old, so he's a little bit older than those guys. But he's a real player. And these are all guys that we had to, hold our breath and battle to get from the draft. And those are the type of freshmen we want to bring in. Those type of guys that might get them, might not get them, because I want them to play. And you'll see with our lineup tomorrow, some of those guys are going to be playing.
And then on the pitching side, never in the history of or at least my history with the game of baseball, have I seen starting pitching rotation Friday, Saturday, Sunday not change.
I've never seen it.
Week 1 to end of the season. It's going to change this year with new faces, old faces in new roles perhaps. Shane not throwing to live hitters just yet. So what have you seen on the pitching side as you're looking to answer some questions?
Yeah, I think Weston has definitely earned that from what he's done to be one of those guys, and he'll get every opportunity to be that. And he's definitely taken a step up. I know he's wanted to try to add some velocity, and I think he's just done it naturally, getting older. And thing about Weston is he's always known how to pitch, and then you add velocity, and you're not just a thrower. And then Shane obviously is an incredible talent. We feel like he should be in that mix. And same thing with Freshcorn, and Aiden Sims has impressed me a ton this fall, and along with a lot of the guys coming in. So how that's going to shake out, we'll see. I think we have the guys. It's about what order you put them in and who they are exactly and what roles you fall into. But yeah, it's not likely that it's I hope it is the same 3 all year. That'd be great for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, I like where they're at. That pitching staff's a unit. I thought they did a really good job last year. They were definitely, I thought, the highlight of our team, no doubt. And I just like what they do and how they work, and they've got a really good vibe to them and how they go about things.
Can you give us a little bit of an update on timelines for Shane and Josh Stewart?
Shane is, I believe both of them will be thrown live to our hitters in November. When in November is really going to depend on, I think I said it before, it's about what's best for their health / what's best for their baseball. Because they both need to throw to hitters and have some sort of competition, but they're all completely on track. All on track to be more than healthy for the season. Same thing with Cade McCoy. So,
you mentioned in the gathered media the first time that you've only cheered against Notre Dame a couple of times in your life.
Twice.
You found yourself doing it the other night.
That's awesome.
To go back to a point you made, you want to have a complete team that can win games in every different way. I know you're a fan of coaches. Seems like Mike Elko's got a football team now that has won games in different ways. How much have you dug into this football season, or are you going to be locked in on Saturday?
I love Coach Elko and his team and what they're doing, and I wish he'd play Marco less. He's starting to play more, which every time he plays. But no, I'm kidding. Makes me nervous. But yeah, that was an incredible game atmosphere. Same thing with last week. They just seem really resilient. And I think one thing I'm jealous of Coach Elko, the biggest thing, is he gets to walk down that tunnel with his team. I don't, whatever that feeling's like before the game, especially in our atmosphere, just inject that into my veins. But
well, maybe you'll get some carryover with the 12th man on Friday night.
Well, they never disappoint. So yeah, get us play well on Friday, get us some winning football on Saturday. Got some recruits in. It's always been a great weekend when we've done this. Last year specifically. So we're really excited to get out there in front of the fans and show them the type of baseball we're going to play.
By the way, he can't talk about it. He and his staff on an absolute heater on the recruiting trail right now. I know you can't mention names, but been a really good week for the Aggie Baseball Club.
Yeah, Coach Longley is relentless on the recruiting trail. So we've been doing well.
All right, man. Good luck on Friday. May see you in Kyle Field on Saturday. That's Texas A&M head baseball coach Michael Earley. The Aggies and Bearcats getting ready for how many innings?
12
innings on Friday night at Bluebell
Always
Park.
tentative when other teams should be.
So I will be out there. A lot of you will be out there as well. Looking forward to that to kick off a big weekend here in College Station. We'll be right back on the other side of the break. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. The self-described most professional hour of radio on TexAgs Live in any given week. Ryan Browninger in the host chair. We welcome in the Fan Show presented by Prize Picks. It is Roy May. It is Matt Browning. Prize Picks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. We are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs. As I mentioned, Matt Browning,
hey, buddy.
Roy May.
What up? Hey, how do you follow Coach Earley? I mean, yeah, you did us dirty today.
Well, from a content and I would say an aesthetic perspective, it's tough to do, right?
Well, I don't know about aesthetics. Come on. Well, yeah, okay, yeah. He kind of drags it down a little bit. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm okay with that.
Well, we always start with what's on your mind, and I would think for me, having Coach Earley in here, what's on my mind is that baseball scrimmage because that's what my brain does. But I would imagine for both of you, 4-0 for the first time since 2016. In case you didn't know, Mike Elko reminded you in the postgame presser last week. And the Aggies have a lot to be excited about. Roy, you have been you're a yell leader in one of the most exciting times for Texas A&M football. I will start with what's on your mind and how does kind of this feeling right now on October 2nd compared to the days when you were in the milkman outfit?
Well, 2 quick things before that. One, loved hearing from Coach Earley with the scrimmage coming up. Been following your content with baseball, which it's football season.
For sure.
Yeah. But I enjoyed him being on. And then shout out to volleyball. Big dub last night on the road.
Jamie Morrison's a rock star.
Dude, building a monster. Absolutely building a monster. They're back in the top 10. I think they're ranked 9th this week. But what's on my mind is, man, that was getting through that kind of first test, right? Like, and I know Notre Dame was a test, but to me, it was a bigger test of keeping the focus in your first SEC game. Thankfully, you were able to have it at home. Auburn, formidable opponent to an extent. I still don't think we know exactly what Auburn is. But that game could have been, everybody's been saying all week, that game could have been 30-3. So the stat box didn't really reflect the score, so to speak. But it's exciting, and there's a hesitant excitement about it, right? Because I know that, I love this week's matchup. I do. I think when Vegas knows things, all right? So I love this matchup. I love having Florida next week, but then I know that there's 3 on the road. We're going to be gone from Kyle for literally a month. Man, I'm fired up, dude.
You're keeping it together, but you are more fidgety than I've seen you. You're doing a good job trying to.
Dude, I'm busting at the seams. I think this team is special. I think they have the opportunity to do something special. And I don't think they've truly unleashed everything they're capable of doing.
That's fair to
on
say.
both sides of the ball.
That's fair to say.
On both sides of the ball. So I think they're going to blow the doors off Mississippi State this week.
It is a big number. A lot of folks that make picks, on podcasts, nationally, whatever, taking Mississippi State because everybody's looking at it. It's like, man, they've been pretty good. That's a lot of points, but
everybody's laying the points.
Yeah, everybody.
My biggest takeaway from the last basically 2 weeks, since I wasn't here last week, but my biggest takeaway has been it's odd to still, like I sat around last night after golf. And
what, it's odd for you to be positive?
No, it's not. I'm a very positive person, okay? I'm a very, very happy
positive
lad.
Panda.
I am. I'm a very happy lad in my life. But it's funny to see how people are still a little timid, right? I mean, we're Aggies, right? So they just see the timidness. But you go and you look at it and you go, okay, I mean, here's my biggest takeaway. Notre Dame and Auburn, both of these games, right, are games in the past we would have lost. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. A road game like that, some heartbreaking. We stay in it, heartbreaking loss, and then turn around at home and play a team that is where we're better than the whole game. But we've lost a lot of games like that, where we just let them hang around and they beat us at the last second, and to turn around. That's a narrative that's changing. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a narrative changing. I'm seeing people really starting to believe that yes, we can score 40 points, 41 points on Notre Dame, and then turn around and play a knockdown, drag-out fight with a good defensive, very talented Auburn team that I think, honestly, yes, they have their deficiencies on offense, but their defense may be the best defense we see this year.
Well, they've also played back-to-back what I think are good defenses. Here has been my biggest question from the national perspective in their view of Texas A&M. It seems to me that Oklahoma got a lot more credit for beating Auburn in a less convincing fashion than Texas A&M got for beating Auburn in a more convincing fashion.
Yeah, and if you look at when you look at the box score, we dominated them.
Yeah. And what I loved about it too, and I don't even know that I brought this point up, is disaster happens. You can talk about the play call. The fact of the matter is it wasn't executed by anybody. I thought it was a poor snap from Naboo. Marcel didn't get a clean handle. He didn't throw a great ball. Still, Bussy got his hands on it.
Got to give Craver credit, though, for that run down. That was
running
awesome.
down. And they ended up scoring. But after that, so that's disaster happens. That goes back to what you said about, here we go again.
Yeah.
And what
I bet
happens?
that exact phrase came out of his mouth.
Immediately,
Of course.
What is the immediate response? The offense goes down and they get 3, which is important in a game where, yardage is hard to come by, especially for Auburn. Extending that back out to a touchdown lead is important. So they respond, get the field goal, and the defense just says, we're going to win it. And it's complementary football like Coach Elko talked about. And you have to be able to win different kinds of games. And that's why I am bullish on this team, is because we've seen them win when the offense was great, the defense was down, and we saw it last week when the offense struggled to score. They didn't struggle to move the ball. They struggled to score, and the defense locked things up. You got to play the whole game. You got to be able to play every element and be good at it, and we've seen it from this A&M team so far.
Well, that's, and kind of leading into Mississippi State, but not this team, but more Mike Leach, Mississippi State, the Mike Leach, Texas Tech, right? Don't worry about defense. First guy to 55 wins, right? But you found that that's why he didn't win championships. You have to be able to win on offense. You have to be able to win on defense. And also, a little quick caveat, what's on my mind. Salty Mike Elko and PCs, man. I'm here for it. His sarcasm is just dripping.
I love that. I mean, it wasn't a veiled shot. It was actually an on-the-nose shot at Brian Kelly.
No, that and then the shot at the officials, like SEC officiating, just everything. I'm absolutely here for that. Yeah. And that was a direct shot at Brian Kelly. He's a clown.
What are your thoughts on the officiating? It's something that I brought up in the host chair, and people are probably tired of hearing about it, but I'm asking you guys for an opinion. That 10 SEC clubs in the league, 10 of the 16, are 100th or worse in penalties per game.
It's mind-boggling to me. I sat and thought about that. And I was like, man, I watched the Aggies, and then the next night I watched the Cowboys, right? The two teams I cheer for, and flags. I mean, everywhere. I mean, both of them were ridiculous. Like Coach Turner said, he put it best. He's like, hey, you hold them again, I'm gonna throw the flag. But they're just chunking them. I think, like you said, they're trying to get on TV or something.
It does seem like there was a mandate maybe that came from the league office that we are going to start calling these games tighter. That's the only way to explain it. Unless, I guess there is the outside chance that if you go back and you look at all of these flags across the league and you're going, oh yeah, that is blatant, it has to be called. Yeah. There is a percentage that it could be that. And so I'm not completely throwing the referees under the bus.
I am.
Go ahead.
I think they're absolute trash, because if you go back 2 years, they weren't calling any holding, right? That was the biggest complaint. They never call holding. There's never a holding call. And now they're calling literally everything that kind of might look like a hold maybe. So the fact that we've had, 13 penalties in back-to-back games, they were both SEC crews, because we took an SEC crew up to South Bend. I would guess that we had 13 penalties combined between the two games, actual penalties. And I love Jim Turner saying, Coach Turner talking about it's like mommy didn't give him enough attention. Hey, that's just, you want to talk about being on the nose. Coach Turner excels.
Well, he started going on that yesterday when we recorded it, and I was like, okay, you don't jump in anywhere in here. You let this guy go. He's on a roll, because it's solid gold.
The problem is, and officiating can obviously dictate games, and it hasn't. It hasn't been like that one call that totally screws up the whole game.
Auburn had a gripe about that in Norman. That ineligible player, that's a 15-yard penalty and a loss of down in a one-score game.
And then the worst part is the week after, like the following week, the conference comes out and says, I know you guys lost by a touchdown. My bad. We kind of accidentally spotted you a touchdown because our refs suck.
Like that's supposed to make anybody feel any better in Auburn.
They're hurting their product. Your product is it wants to be exciting and fun. And if you're sitting there every single time, every touchdown, you're getting kickoff returns in the fourth quarter called back. You're getting touchdowns that seal the game called back from little things. Now again, he was beyond the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, for sure.
I get it.
Yeah.
But leading up to that, I mean, the holdings, it's the holding calls over and over and over, which is just
well, and
insane.
some of the personal foul stuff. Like we still don't know what happened with Chase Basantis. Apparently, he chirped at the referee, and like there's certain words you can't say.
Yeah.
We all know that. But interestingly enough, Saturday night in Kyle Field, Texas A&M, I believe this is correct. You can check me, Schoon. 133 in the country in penalties per game. You know who's right ahead of them? Mississippi State.
It's going to be a 5-hour football game.
So we might be there a while. When we come back, we're going to be here for a little bit while longer. We're going to do some prize picks. I've made Luke Evangelist print these out because when I'm hosting the show, I'm not as smart as David. I am not as dexterous as David.
David looks his up every time.
Oh, okay.
Just FYI.
Thank you for that. Yeah. When we come back, we're doing prize picks on TexAgs live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Welcome back. Bottom of the 10 o'clock hour. We went a little bit long in that last segment, but good spirited conversation.
Yeah.
And now we've got to do some prize picks. As we said, this fan show is presented by Prize Picks, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Again, use code TexAgs to get started there with these picks. Luke Evangelist has printed us a paper.
He's graced us with his presence.
And graced us with his presence in the Angry Elephant Social Center.
How did Dr. Chad do for me last week?
Let's see. Dr. Chad 4-4. Yikes. Roy May 2-6.
Told you.
Hunter was 2-6, and then David 3-5. So Dr. Chad did well for you.
All right, hey, that away, Dr. Chad.
All right, let's pick them and rip them to rip off you and Matthew.
Actually,
Dawson.
hold on. That title's trademarked. That's the name of me and Matthew's show. You can't use that.
I sure can use that.
If you want to watch Pick 'em and Rip 'em, it's on the TexAgs site right now.
It's sticky.
It's on TexAgs?
Yeah.
What is this show called?
It's on TexAgs.
What is this show on?
TexAgs Live.
Okay. So we can use it. Pick them and rip them. Let's go.
Okay, we're going to start with Tommy Castellanos from Florida State. More than or less than 176.5 passing yards.
And there's a deep drive by Castellanos.
Miami.
Oh, all right. So, yeah, you're going to have to tell me some of who we were playing. And
Hold on. You're unaware that Florida State playing Miami this week?
I'm not unaware.
You've been in a cave?
I have a job, all right? And it's very, very.
So do I. I have a job.
Yeah, yours is this is your job.
I like less. Less than for me.
Ooh, Miami is good. I'm going to go more. I'm going to say more.
I wish I had a weather report.
Yeah, I can go with more. I know, right?
This game's in Tallahassee?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's gosh, what is it like? I think it's a 10.5 point.
Oh, rain.
No. This one's a little closer. This is 6. Bama and Vandy are 10.5.
25% chance of rain.
It'll rain.
I'll go more just because I think he could chunk it around in garbage time.
That would be a disgusting cover, but you're probably right. I'm still going to go less.
All right. How about Arch Manning? He plays at Texas. They are playing at Florida.
They're playing at Florida. Yeah, I got
More
that.
than or less than.
I got the SEC. I know the SEC stuff.
Okay, of course. Yeah. More than or less than 217.5
For me,
yards.
Less.
For me, it's like this game is going to come down to which defense can score more because these offenses are putrid.
Yeah.
And I hate Texas, so less.
I'm saying less out of spite as well.
Absolutely. It's completely out of spite.
Bronny, do you want to add maybe insight instead of spite?
I'm going to go more because I believe that I think they've let go of the rope. And I think especially if Texas, the defense is good, I think if they go through the first half and squash them, I think they let go of the rope more and more as the game goes on and this thing could get. I think Texas is going to, I've picks tomorrow. I like the Longhorns here.
I'm with Josh Pate. He said something along the lines of like Florida didn't quit on Napier last year, so he doesn't think they're going to quit on him this year. So and that'll be kind of the interesting part to watch is do they kind of quit on him or do they not?
This is the game.
The best point that I thought Pate made is what would Florida's record be with Texas's schedule and what would Texas's record be with Florida's schedule?
Yeah.
Something interesting to think about.
Is there a more or less than on Arch Manning or DJ Lagway on how many bounce passes they throw?
Prize Picks did not offer that yet.
That's a shame.
I can talk.
I'll keep an eye on that one though.
I'll email my representative.
See what we can do about that.
Okay, next up we've got DJ Lagway. He plays for Florida. They're playing Texas. More than or less than 189.5 passing yards.
This one is also easy, and unfortunately, I can't go spite here. I'm going to have to use logic, but I'm going to say less. I hate to say this, I think Texas has one of the best defenses in the country. So
their defense is good.
Their defense is really good.
Yeah,
so.
Florida's defense is pretty good too, though.
I say less.
It's a low number.
I just can't. After watching him throw the ball against Miami, I've known DJ a long time. I think there's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
And their game plan against Miami, he didn't throw the ball past like 6 yards all day.
That's not going to work against a Texas defense.
No. The common sense play, like you could say, okay, that can't happen again. I'm just betting on the odds of that type of performance being so low that I'll flip it. Your common sense says this is less.
Yeah, I'll go less.
All right, all across the board, we're going less than. Next up, we have Carson Beck. He does not play in the SEC, but he plays for Miami.
Got it. Thank you.
And they're going to play at Florida State.
Appreciate that.
And his number is more than or less than 236.5 passing yards.
I'm going more. I'm going more because I think Miami's really good. I do. I think Miami's really good.
Virginia put up a bunch of points last week against Florida State. I don't see any reason why this Miami offense can't do the same with better players. Carson Beck puts his stamp on the Heisman race this week.
Yeah, I'll go more than.
Okay, next up, we're going to go with Jeremy Bernard. He plays for Alabama.
They're playing Vanderbilt, by the way.
They're playing Vanderbilt.
I know the SEC.
It's 10.5 point.
I'm sorry I don't keep up with the ACC and these other
Is this a typo?
conferences.
What? Jeremy Bernard, more than or less than 60.5 receiving.
It says 60.6, and I didn't know if we were going to get real technical.
No.
How much we were measuring.
They don't do that. That was me typing fast among my many responses.
You know what's interesting?
Brian's really getting on you about this paper.
Like, are we serious? A piece of paper where 0.5 versus 0.6 really? After everything,
are you asking if the fan show is serious? We were the most unserious segment of the week.
Second most unserious show after B Team.
That's fair.
The interesting part about this number, though, is Alabama is spreading the football around.
Yeah.
And between Bernard, Ryan Williams, and Isaiah Horton, they were all hovering around this number against Georgia. I don't think I love Vanderbilt. I love the story. I'm hoping they can keep it within the number, but I just think there's too many dudes. One of the Bama receivers is going over this number.
More than
this number.
Thank you.
Going more than this number, and so I'll take more.
Yeah, I mean, everything tells me Vandy is going to play tough. Like Vandy's going to play hard, especially. But Bama's also still pretty peeved about last year. So I think Bama's going to come out and play really well, and so I'm going to go more as well. I think they'll have a couple of guys over 60 yards.
I think they're going to absolutely pummel Vandy.
Wow.
Like you said, Vandy's a great story, but
It's a program game.
Yeah, I'll go more.
That's the same thing I was
Just
saying
so I don't
about
lose ground.
I thought Notre Dame, Arkansas last week was the easiest bet available if you're looking at spreads.
And everybody's like, man, this could be a really good game. Like, no.
Notre Dame, Arkansas does not beat Notre Dame.
No.
Doesn't happen. Not when Notre Dame has to win.
I will say the weirdest thing on the planet, though, and maybe it's just weird to me, was the fact that Notre Dame and Arkansas had never played a football game.
Ever.
Not in a bowl game, nothing. I thought that was crazy.
That is nuts. They've never, in the history of both those programs, they've never.
Yeah, I was prepping for my podcast. I looked up because I like to look at the all-time records. It just shows the two helmets.
Yeah. Their first ever.
How is that possible?
Yep.
Because I feel like Notre Dame and Arkansas were both good kind of in the same time periods, like the 70s and the other stuff. I don't know.
Is there a Power 5 team A&M hasn't played yet?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Is this a trivia? Do you know the answer?
No, I have no idea.
Power 4. Power 4.
Yeah, Power 4. West Virginia.
Wisconsin?
Has A&M ever played them?
We ever played Oregon State?
We played West Virginia in a bowl game.
We have played West Virginia in a bowl game. Have we played Wisconsin?
I don't know.
That would be a fun trivia.
Oregon State?
Yeah, I'm going to look that up after the show. That's interesting.
Of us ever playing Oregon State?
Washington State?
Washington.
They played Washington.
We played Oregon?
We played Washington.
A&M and Wisconsin have never played.
There you go.
We ever played Oregon?
Hold on, let me look.
I can't think of a time when we played Oregon.
Well, yeah, if you start going into the
Oregon and A&M never played.
Yeah, the former Pac-12.
Oh, there's probably more than we think.
Yeah.
Maryland?
No. I can't.
Rutgers?
Rutgers,
No,
yeah, I was
I
about to say
think we
Rutgers.
played Rutgers once.
Oregon State never.
Cincinnati.
We're cooking this question. Nice job, boys.
All right, back to it.
Hold on. Winsipedia says they've never played, but something on a like AI overview. I don't know how much we trust AI. Said that in 1963, A&M and Oregon played, and A&M won.
Regardless, we've crushed your question. Next, more or less thing, please.
Moving on, Blanche.
I didn't know it was me.
Oh, it was a gotcha. You're a part of the gotcha culture. You tried to get us, and you got got.
I was genuinely
No,
curious.
you got. It's okay. Just wear it and move on.
All right, mark this one down on your sheet. Marcel Reed, more than or less than 38.5 rushing yards.
Ooh.
I like this question. I'm going less because first of all, I hope he doesn't have to run the ball. And every time he does, I do hold my breath a little bit,
because you're a negative Nancy.
No, it's because he's not Cam Newton. And he's not, you can't tell me a couple times he's been hit and not gotten right up. You're kind of going, he's 170
Yeah, but as soon as he
pounds.
takes off, you're expecting him to get hit and not get up. Like, that's you.
Stop it. You stop it, you.
He takes off running.
Less.
Takes off running.
Less for me.
Pearl clutch. I'm going more.
All right, we got to keep going.
Next up, we've got Fluff Bothwell, more than or less than 61.5 rushing yards.
All-time name list.
Yeah, Fluffy. I'm all Fluffy.
More.
Okay, and then finally Mario Craver against his old team, more than or less than 83.5.
That's a big number.
More.
It's the fact that, first of all, he had a slow game last week compared to what he's been doing. Plus, this is his former squad. I think he's going to have more.
I think they're going to play a lot of single high man defense, and I think there's going to be opportunities for catch and run.
Yeah.
And I don't think Mississippi State, they didn't do well with the big angular receivers last week for Tennessee. Yeah. But I still have questions about how they can keep up with the guys.
I think they're gonna key on Mario just because of the whole transfer thing. So KC's gonna have a big game.
I think he might have 83 yards in yak.
Yeah, I could see that. All right, when we come back, we will close the show. Thursday edition of TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Let's go out to the lobby in this final segment of the show. We're going to join Alex Schoonover, who's there with Buppy's. Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline sponsors the show. They've been catering for us on Thursdays, and we have got quite the barbecue spread there. Alex, what we got?
Yep, we got a great barbecue spread. We got some turkey, we got some ribs, we got some ranch potatoes, and then following up with some green beans. And then this week, we got some ice cream cups. Looks really good.
I'm excited. They got Buppy there with you.
Yeah,
give his thoughts.
Buppy.
Aggies 4-0. get his thoughts on the game this weekend.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the game this weekend?
It's super exciting. Anytime you're here at Kyle Field, it's always a great thing. And just one thing I'd like to always let people know, anytime you have TexAgs, and remember one thing, and Elko, we trust.
Absolutely.
You heard it from Mr. Buppy and Elko we trust. Back to you, Bronny, in the studio.
How am I the only one that understood the assignment? It's blackout week. What are we doing, guys?
Yeah.
It's
Don't take
Thursday.
that literally.
Coach Earley understood the assignment. Yeah, but this is the only time I'm on the show.
Fair enough.
This guy's over here.
Hey, boy, you've been really after
Hey,
him
Kate
today.
blacked out last night. She's in
He's
theme.
been after me like you've been after Luke. It's really weird.
I've not been after you.
See, this is what happens.
You've been after Luke.
He's right out of college, and he's part of this gotcha culture.
He's used
and he
to-
tried to get the old heads, and we pummeled him.
Well, Browning's used to being way over there. He's now in the impact zone over here.
I know.
Matt Browning, Roy May, thank you guys for joining in. Aggies and Mississippi State coming up on Saturday night. We roll right along today. B team at 4:15. It'll be Luke and I. I don't know what the bit's going to be. I left it up to Luke, but it's a Thunderdome Thursday on the B team tomorrow. Right back here with Olin Buchanan, Billy Lucci, Steve and Seth McKinney. We get you ready for the Aggies and Bulldogs. Thank you for joining TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.